Time now for our Did You Know segment. And on the line with us, we have Jarvis Tan. And Jarvis is a corporate trainer and executive coach, as well as the evangelization strategist at the Office for the New Evangelization. Good morning, Jarvis.
Good morning, Andre. Peace be with you, and so happy to be with all of you here today.
Peace be with you, brother. Okay, now, for those who have not heard it, right, for the first time, can you share with us what this new Wine Parish Conference is all about? And that's why we have you here.
Yeah, so the new Wine Parish Conference is for those with a heart for serving and elevating the parish here in the Archdiocese of Singapore. The conference seeks to inspire participants to be the church that God intends to be and to provide practical tools for us to help realize that. You know, as the term new wine indicates, it is, sometimes in the parish, it is often common that people feel a sense of burnout sometimes, a sense of jadedness, a sense of cynicism, in just constantly serving people at times. And so new wine is also a way for us to feel renewed in the Lord, that our spirits and our minds and our bodies will feel renewed. So this is why it is the new Wine Parish Conference.
Okay. Can you share with us what the theme of the conference is?
So thank you for that. The theme for this year's conference is the welcome. Right? How do we unlock heartfelt hospitality in our parishes?
Okay, but some people might say, we have hospitality ministers, we have wardens, and so many people, it's seemingly in the church welcoming us, when we go into church before Mass.
Yeah.
Is that enough? That's the question.
Hospitality isn't just about, this heartfelt hospitality in the parish isn't just directed at the hospitality ministers, the traffic wardens. These are people definitely on the front line.
Yep.
And they are a very integral part each and every week, in the work that they do. And so if we, why the theme this year, right? Why is it called the welcome this year? Well, for a couple of reasons. Number one, last year I was invited by a few parishes to do talks on hospitality. And one of them, St. Mary's of the Angels, was one of those. And, when I heard Friar Mike and what he wanted to do, right, to effect this kick-off, also they call it to be part of the welcome, that during COVID time in the church in Singapore, many of the hospitality ministers and people in the church became a bit more like security officers. We just had to be mindful of people's health. And so, how do we make that transition back again to this sense of hospitality? Because many a times in the Catholic Church, we are really great at service. But the question is there a sense of hospitality in the way that we do it? And it's not easy because people come in and week out, and many people on the front line get verbally abused, by parishioners, who have bad temper, who are late, who are upset about certain things. And so the if you look at the image that we use for this year's conference that we maybe would put up here later on, it's this image of like the tent, right? It's a cross on top, it's a tent. And the idea is taken from the synodal image that Pope Francis says that, that the church is like this. How do we extend the tents?
Absolutely.
And so heartfelt hospitality is about extending the tents of our hearts to be more inclusive, right, towards the people of God. But primarily first, hospitality is about being having this sense of hospitality to God in the first place. This sense of radical hospitality, right, to openness to God and to his people.
And, we see actually this virtue of hospitality. In fact, hospitality is a charism, if I'm not mistaken, right? And we see it in Scripture. And it always reminds me of Abraham, who saw the three angels. Actually, he didn't know that they were angels even, right? And he was so hospitable to them. And, it became a sort of virtue to see to the needs of strangers, even though they were strangers, right? He didn't know them from Adam. But he really went out of his way to make them feel welcome, refreshed, and made sure that even when they set off again, they were also, well equipped to make their journey. So this hospitality, this sense and charism, or this gift of hospitality, I noticed from the picture that we have of the tent that you mentioned, a whole lot of speakers. You mentioned Friar Mike, and I understand that he's one of the speakers. Can you just share with us briefly of some of the speakers that you may want to highlight?
Wow, sure. Thanks for that, Andre. So, this conference happens over Friday evening and Saturday, the whole of Saturday, isn't it?
Right.
And so it's going to be like one keynote on Friday evening. We got a couple of interview sections and 8 TED Talk styles. So Father Adrian Denker will kick us off on Friday evening with the heart of hospitality. I think Friday evening is more of a time of ministering, of listening, all right? For those of us who have been on the front line of hospitality, for example, right, who have been wounded, through our interactions, right? How do we renew our hearts in the Lord? And this posture of not just giving, but how do we also in hospitality receive? Because that's the posture of hospitality. Then next day in the morning, Friar Mike will share with us the welcoming parish. He will talk about his experience at St. Mary's Angels. For him, the word that he uses is at the end of the day, when people come for whatever reason, for liturgy, for ministry, for social mission, that when they leave, they have this sense of, I'm glad we came. So how do we expand this sense of hospitality in the parish?
Right.
Then Father Terence Pereira, the Episcopal for the New Evangelization. We'll talk about sacramental touch points because welcome also includes baptism, marriages, funerals,
Yes.
So at sacramental touch point, how do we offer this sense of welcome? For these are all significant experiences for the people of God.
Right.
Then Lawrence Chong will talk about a study that was done in Singapore between 2021 to 2023 in 5 of the parishes that the Office for the New Evangelization have been accompanying and journeying.
Right.
Hospitality was the number one thing that came up. That this was a sense that was absent. In fact, in the document summary that Singapore sent to Rome, I think hospitality was also one of the key points that we mentioned. That was something that we could do more of. Marianne Koh, who is the HR director over at the Esplanade, will talk about the experience in St. Mike's, about how do we chart, how do we foster this sense of parish hospitality at the leadership level. Nick Gabriel Lim will talk about intergeneral welcome. How do, as a psychologist, how do we welcome people across the lifespan? Christine Lim will be talking about mental health matters, which is, and many a times, there was a study done that many a times people with a religious affiliation would often turn to their faith institutions. And for Christians and Catholic and Protestant Christians, they will go to their church as the first touch points when they need help. So oftentimes it wasn't a mental health professional that they seek, but they come to our parishes. So then how do we meet these people where they are and how do we respond to them? Supporting people with special needs. Jenny Lim for the Office for Catechesis, she'll be talking about her experiences of how parishes have been more inclusive in terms in the liturgy as well as catechetically, because these are 2 growing groups that are growing in Singapore.
Yeah.
Hospitality Beyond the Pews by Theresa Long, who will be talking about hospitality in the neighborhood Christian communities, where we live and where we are. Then Patrick Tan from St. Mary's will be talking about welcome in the digital age. In St. Mary's, they see themselves not just serving a physical parish community, but also one that is digital, a digital family. And these are people made up of those in Singapore and around the world. And so how do we foster this digital family, Catholic family that associate themselves to us? And how do we communicate and reach out also with this sense of hospitality?
You also have Alfred Pang, right?
Yes. Alfred will close off the conference with this topic of gracious spaciousness. How do we create this space? Because ultimately, when we come here, yes, we were expanding the tent of our hearts. Yeah. But then how do we sit with this and knowing that there will be always this tension in our service, in our receiving, and ultimately how do we make more space for God and the people of God?
Jarvis, actually, when I was looking at your entire poster here, I was actually really very excited because there are so many touch points which we don't often think about. And, you mentioned mental health, intergenerational welcome. We think we've been doing that over the years, but, I'm sure there is so much depth that the speakers are going to add to this conference. I'm just excited just looking at this myself. So for those of us who want to sign up, how do we do that?
All right. To register, you go to one.org.sg.
Right.
Right now, right, there's this promo that's going on. If you're signing up as an individual, it goes for $28. But if you sign up with 4 packs, so you go and find a few kaki to go together, we give you the very auspicious price of $88. Right. And so the registration closes on 31st March. I'm so excited for this to happen. I think that this is a season where the Church of Singapore, right here in the Archdiocese, we want to extend the tent of our hearts for God and for His people, so that more people would feel the connection and the warmth that they have in our parish families. And so come for this conference. For those of you who already are involved in all these various ministries, sacramentally as well as the hospitality ministry. So people who in St. Mary's, right, when they did this talk, they had about 100 and maybe 20, 40 over people who turned up over 2 sessions, of which 100 new people signed up to be part of the welcome in the parish.
Wow.
I think people were moved by the need. And so we want to welcome new people also, new wineskins to be part of the welcome, to be part of the new evangelization, to be part of that humanizing face behind, some of our parishes that are too big sometimes. So we want to be there. We want you to come and experience what a welcome also means, so that you can also go out there. Right. Welcome is not just a place we are going to, but it's a place that we're coming from, hospitality.
And it's also equipping people, I suppose, as well.
Yeah, it's the mindset, it's the skill set, it's the heart set, it is the soul set that we want to be able to touch our people here.
Amen. Jarvis, thank you so much for joining us. And today we're very blessed to have Jarvis, who is the evangelization strategist from the Office for the New Evangelization. Thank you so much, and we wish you guys all the very best, and we'll be praying, of course, for the success of this New Wine Conference.
Thank you so much, Andre, for having us here today. Take care and God bless.